Gmod Construct. If you ever played Gmod before, you probably know all about this map. It's pretty decent. Simple, but decent. But it has a weird dark ether over it. All alone the sounds of the city, but no active city to see. It feels like you're being watched by something. I believe these maps are called haunted Gmod maps or just uncanny maps. Other than this, the game's fine. As long as there are other players, the feeling pretty much disappears. But what if there was a game that worked only in this realm of aesthetics? Say hello to HROT. The game recently just released and each level is basically just its own haunted Gmod map. But the big difference in this game is the fact that in Gmod the map is empty, there is nothing stalking you. But in HROT, it's filled with monstrous enemies straight out of creepypastas. Even though there's tons of action and filled with enemies, you would think this creepy feeling would disappear, but it luckily never does. At the end of each stage, near every enemy is gone. It's just you and nothing. It almost reminds of the game No Players Online. So which other attempts does this game make to keep the uncanny feeling entertained throughout your experience? Quickly, before going into depth about that, I want to mention that the creator of this game, Spichinev, sorry if I butchered your name, wrote his own custom engine written in Pascal, which this game is built on, which I believe deserves mad props. Anyways, Gmod is made on the Source engine, which is filled with assets from Valve's game Half-Life, which is set in Eastern Europe, or at least based on it. HROT runs with the Eastern Europe aesthetic, more so Soviet. The game's description explains that the game takes place in Soviet Union Czechoslovakia after an unspecified disaster in 1986. Those times were dark and terrifying, and so is this game. The Soviet aesthetic lingers in each map, whether that be the classic Eastern blocks or Russian paraphernalia being founded in each map as a reference to the classic Babushka's house did. Each enemy reminds me of the Russian sleep experiment creepypasta, which is probably one of the internet stories that disturbed me the most as little. The gas masks being on pretty much every enemy throughout the game. Yes, pretty much every enemy, even horse. And this little bugger.
Pedro. Meets Pedro.
Not only the character models being creepy, but the sounds they make are also pretty disturbing. Not alone the soundtrack while playing through these levels. One of the soundtracks, track 13 to be specific, reminds me of the classic RE4 save room theme, Serenity. Cold, chilling, yet a small amount of glimmering hope. Not only that, but the color palette also reminds me very much of the classic RE4s, which in many eyes is iconic, and the remake even got heat for changing it up, because the classic color palette just is that good. Throughout the stages, you'll also arrive at castles, churches, crawl in the underground sewers, building complexes, factories, government buildings, metros, while you'll be encountering cultists that reminds me of the Ganados in RE4 and the fucking news. God damn, I hate the fucking newts. All these aesthetic choices reminiscent of RE4 I don't mind, since that game in of itself is also a horror game. Almost every object in the game is interactable, whether that be the Game Boy, toilets, showers, a pool table, posters, railway models, and so on. So when stumbling upon the TV, you're kinda disturbed. You're accustomed to the interactable being funny quirks. Maybe you'd expect to see a funny clip, but no. It's cameras, watching and keeping an eye of every place you've wandered, making you wonder, who's been keeping an eye on you, and where is that person right now? Sometimes even seeing an enemy you didn't kill in an empty hallway. The distorted lens you're looking through starts to make you second guess whether that actually is an enemy or not. It's a subtle thing the game developer has added, but it solidifies the uncanny feeling of being stalked throughout the map. It's an interesting thing which Half-Life did as well, with the G-Man stalking you throughout the game. The game does have moments such as these, whether that be the grandma or this ghost. But other than that, I wonder whether such an entity exists in the other maps as well. The game is filled with cool Easter eggs, funny environmental designs here and there, and an old school Quake/Doom-like gameplay loop. I just watched this video, which is banger, and I realized it's basically Doom. So if you like that game, this game is for you. Fly around, shoot everything you see. Other than that, the game doesn't have too much to offer. I think it's a cool game for people who, like me, find the source map's uncanniness interesting and wanna explore that feeling more. If not for this video, I would probably have refunded the game at around the 2-hour mark, since in my opinion running around shooting does get quite stale after 30 minutes. Reason for the refund is just I think 15 euros is a bit too much, but it should be taken into account that I've never been much of a Doom or Quake guy. Boomer shooters have never really been my cup of tea, so if that is yours, then you should definitely check this game out. It's one guy who's created this game and he does deserve his pay. And for what he has created, it's a unique game oozing with atmosphere. Just an incredibly refined gaming experience, whether that be the level design, auditory, atmospheric. Even I can acknowledge that. Thanks for watching, and remember to show love.